We've got an important update for you on a winter storm that's developing right now. The Ohio Valley, we might see some of that drift into upstate New York and perhaps northern New England as we get into late Wednesday and early Thursday, but that really won't add much to the snow totals. Maybe a coating to an inch or two will be possible, and as we've been saying throughout the forecast, the snow and ice accumulation is expected to be greater than we originally thought yesterday or even this morning. Here's the latest information on just how much snowfall we could see. For most of Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio, we're looking at a widespread 3 to 6 inches of snow. There will likely be some smaller areas, perhaps over near St. Louis or even in central Indiana or Ohio, that could get around 6 to 8 inches of snow when it's all said and done. And the northeast tonight and into tomorrow, and there's a lot more moisture to fuel it. So that's definitely a lot more snow than we were first expecting. And if any area happens to see 8 inches of snow, that's going to be on top of what we saw just a couple of days ago with some of that record-breaking November snow we had in places like St. Louis, Fort Wayne, Indiana, and a few other spots. So there's quite a bit of snow coming with this storm, even though it's moving through very quickly. And I want to point out one other thing, too. All across western Michigan, we have some very intense lake effect snow bands lining up right now. There's a chance of 1 to 1.5 feet of snow just between today and early tomorrow in far western Michigan. So please be aware if you're living in any of those areas. Many areas are still looking at 3 to 7 inches of snow, but new data shows a much larger area could now see 6 to 12 inches. There are winter storm warnings in effect for parts of that western region, Michigan at the moment. And then heading over to the Ohio Valley in the northeast, that's an area where things have really picked up over the last 24 hours. In fact, the National Weather Service is now calling for a widespread 6 to 12 inches of snow from central and eastern New York and even northeast Pennsylvania through central New England. This includes places like Concord and Manchester, New Hampshire, and also southern Vermont, as well as the western parts of Massachusetts, around and just north of Worcester, and up through southern Maine. We'll also likely see a few areas that get even more, closer to 12 to 15 inches of snow. The highest totals will probably be near Keene, New Hampshire, just outside of where NSHA is, including places like Erie, Albany, Worcester, and Manchester. I also think Nashua could easily get 10 to 12 inches of snow by the time this is all over. For Albany, New York, I'm expecting about 8 inches of snow from this system. And in Portland, Maine, I would say getting 8 to 9 inches is pretty realistic. Now, if you're in Boston, you might not see much of anything when it comes to snow. It will probably be mostly rain for you folks. There could be a brief changeover to snow as we get very late into Tuesday night, but I wouldn't get your hopes up on that. And for most of southern New England, it's going to be basically dry as far as snow is concerned, but it will be raining all afternoon and evening tomorrow. Then shifting back over to Ohio and Kentucky, you'll likely see at least a couple of inches of snowfall. For northern Ohio, another thing we're watching closely is the freezing rain, which is spreading over a bigger area than we anticipated. There's a better chance of 4 to 5 inches, with some lake effect snow bands also possible. We might see some flurries tonight into tomorrow morning over in northern Tennessee, particularly around Clarksville. I wouldn't rule out a couple of flurries in Nashville, but I think freezing rain is going to be the bigger worry. And unfortunately, ice buildup is becoming a much greater concern across the Ozarks and in the Ohio Valley. This has already been causing a lot of trouble today in southern Missouri and Arkansas. We've already had reports of buses sliding off roads and dozens of accidents. And we're expecting a widespread glaze to 1/10 of an inch of ice over the next several hours in areas from Little Rock, Arkansas, heading back into western. That freezing rain is going to be a problem for parts of Arkansas, Missouri, Kentucky, near Mayfield, and also into southern Illinois and southern Indiana. However, if you're in the path of this weather, don't be surprised to see a thin coating of ice tonight, especially with temperatures set to drop quickly behind this storm system. That means folks in areas like western Tennessee or even way down in southern Kentucky and possibly even near Clarksville, Tennessee, have a real chance of seeing a glaze of ice or at least some black ice on the roads. It might not happen everywhere, but it's definitely something to watch out for. That's because any rain or slush could easily refreeze as the temperatures fall. Now, over in the Appalachian Mountains in eastern Kentucky, that's an area where we expect more ice to build up. Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, and the foothills in the Carolinas, we're not talking about a major ice storm or anything like that, but it could be enough ice to cause some scattered power outages. A widespread 1/100th to a 1/10 of an inch of ice is possible from northeastern Arkansas clear across the Appalachian Mountains. And we may even have some freezing rain or drizzle over near Washington, D.C. and southeastern Pennsylvania tomorrow. That also means there could be some slick spots on the roads if they aren't treated. So please be safe out there. Ice could also weigh down tree limbs, so don't be shocked if a few of them come down tomorrow. And then, once this winter storm is all said and done, we're going to see a pretty active weather pattern continue through the middle, where even a little bit of glaze could make travel very tricky and lead to some scattered power outages. So, and into the week with more chances for snow in the Ohio Valley and the Northeast. By this Friday and Saturday, a stronger storm system might pop up over the Gulf Coast, bringing heavy rain and some rough weather to the southeast on Friday and Saturday. Next Sunday and Monday, things get a little more interesting as a high-pressure system starts to build. That system will likely act as a block, keeping any big winter storms from forming. But here's the really interesting part. Way out in the Pacific Northwest, a big moisture event they call an atmospheric river seems likely to happen. If that plays out, there's a higher chance that some of that energy will move over the Rockies, which means the chances for a winter storm will. In this update, we're going to walk you through exactly what you need to know about. Go up again around the middle of December, so things are definitely not settling down yet. It's not over yet, though. It looks like some of you might even get a white Christmas. I'll have a more detailed video for you all once I get back from my vacation, where we'll talk more about who might see a white Christmas and what winter storms are headed our way after the 10th of the month. So you'll want to stay tuned for that and make sure you subscribe to the channel. We have a lot of interesting weather coming up, and just as a reminder, today is the very last day for our Black Friday sale at shopmaxvelocity.net. You can get $5 off on orders of $50 or more with the code BLACKFRIDAY. The link for that is at the top of the description below. We have our cheese curd collection available, which is named after my cat. We also have our Happy Holidays merchandise, our Super Sale collection, and a whole lot more. This winter storm and the big changes we've seen in the forecast over the last 24 hours. These make for wonderful stocking stuffers, so be sure to take a look over at shopmaxvelocity.net. And as I mentioned, I am on vacation at the moment, but we will still have video updates for you anytime dangerous weather is happening. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and we'll see you all again in the next video. And it looks like it's going to bring a lot more snow and ice than we first expected. And folks, we have a lot of new information coming in right now about this winter storm. We've had freezing rain falling across parts of Missouri, Kansas, and Arkansas over the past 6 to 12 hours, and it's caused a lot of trouble on the roads in that time. And on top of all that, we've even had reports of buses sliding into a ditch over in eastern Missouri because of all this ice. So if you're in one of the areas that's getting any of this freezing drizzle or freezing rain, it's really best to just stay off the roads. This is a very tricky situation that's unfolding right now, and it's going to be affecting areas like Tennessee, Kentucky, southern Ohio, Indiana, and even parts of Illinois as we head into the night. So please be sure you're staying on top of the weather alerts in your area. A fast-moving low-pressure system is picking up steam pretty quickly in the Midwest, and we're going to talk more about all of this in just a moment. Out in Tulsa, Oklahoma earlier today, and believe me, that's just one of the many accidents that have been reported so far. And with this winter storm, we're seeing a whole lot of advisories and warnings all the way from the Central Plains over to the Northeast. We have a very wide stretch of winter weather advisories, all shown in purple on the map. That runs from Maine all the way back through Kansas. One of the places we've seen a lot of accidents today has been Kansas City. And that's mostly from the snow, not even from ice building up yet. Most of the ice we've seen so far has been across the Ozarks and into western Tennessee, where things are about to get a lot worse. We're also looking at, which has already led to quite a few traffic incidents from ice on the roads in Oklahoma. Winter storm warnings now in effect for parts of New York and central New England, where there's now a chance for 6 to 14 inches of snow over the next 36 hours. All right, let's talk a bit more about this winter storm as it moves across the United States, and we'll start with what's happening right now. We currently have a large band of light to moderate snowfall stretching from Kansas City over to Chicago and Indianapolis. The heaviest snow is falling right around and just to the north of St. Louis at this time, and then also over in northern Arkansas and southern Missouri. So right in the Ozarks, we have light to moderate freezing rain that is coming down right now, which is making the roads awfully slick. Arkansas and Missouri today, but what we're really keeping an eye on is what's headed our way. And this is already causing major problems for travelers, since so many roads haven't been treated with any salt. So this is creating some real trouble on the roads all across the Ozarks at this moment. As we get closer to 5 or 6 o'clock, that snow is going to spread out and cover a larger area. It'll be stretching from northern Ohio all the way back to central Missouri. We'll be seeing freezing rain and sleet coming down over in the Mississippi River Valley by that time, especially to the north of Jonesboro and also north of Memphis. That's where the threat of freezing rain is really going to increase right around sunset. And then by about 8 or 9 o'clock, we're going to see that snow continue to stretch out even further. It's going to be reaching from central Missouri all the way through western New York. This storm is getting stronger much faster than we initially thought. Freezing rain and sleet will keep coming down in western Kentucky and southern Illinois. You can expect some slick spots on the roads tonight, and we might even see up to 1/10 of an inch of ice building up. As we get later into the night, the snow is actually going to come down a lot heavier across Kentucky and southern Ohio and southern Indiana. You'll notice those dark blue shades popping up on our future radar. Those are the spots where we're expecting the heaviest snowfall. This means we'll probably see about 2 to 3 inches of snow an hour at times in central Kentucky and also in southern Ohio. The freezing rain is going to keep coming down, but it's going to be in a very narrow band from southern Ohio, just east of Cincinnati, all the way down towards Nashville. I wouldn't be surprised to see some slick. And it's about to spread heavier snow and some really treacherous ice across a big part of the Ohio Valley and the Northeast tonight and tomorrow. Spots down in Nashville overnight as this rain falls. And then by early tomorrow morning, right as the sun is coming up, the snow will have mostly moved into the Appalachian Mountains and the Northeast. You'll find heavy snowfall over in central and southern Pennsylvania. A blanket of moderate snow will cover New York, and then lighter snow will arrive in southern and central New England on Tuesday morning. We'll be seeing a lot of rain stretching from the Gulf Coast all the way up to New Jersey and Maryland. Some localized flooding is a possibility too, but since this nor'easter is moving through so quickly, it's going to limit how much snow and rain can really pile up along the East Coast. But even so, in fact, it looks like the snow totals will likely be higher than we first called for. We're looking at heavy snow that's going to fall for several hours in parts of New England and the Northeast, which means it's definitely going to stack up. The latest information is showing that we'll likely have a 6 to 8 hour window where heavy snow is falling across central New England and on into Pennsylvania and New York. And that's going to be a very narrow stretch. Wherever this band lines up is where we'll be talking about the potential for 6 to 12 inches of snowfall, with some isolated areas possibly getting closer to 14 or even 15 inches. Then, during Tuesday afternoon, moderate to heavy snow will continue across central New England. Most of the snow should start to wind down across Pennsylvania by 2 or 3 o'clock tomorrow. That's because we're expecting a wide band of snow to sweep across the Midwest. There will still be some very light lake effect snow coming off Lake Erie and Lake Ontario, So that's just something to keep in mind. But other than that, most of the snow will be coming from this low pressure system on Tuesday afternoon and into the evening. The heaviest snow should start to taper off just after sunset across New England. By about 10 to 11 o'clock, we'll still be seeing some light snow, and some moderate snow might linger right along the coastline. But overall, most of the snow will be moving out overnight. And by Wednesday morning, we should be pretty much done with the snowfall across the entire Northeast. Then for Wednesday afternoon and evening, I wouldn't rule out a little more snow, but that will mostly be over in Michigan.